the night on. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of AM Minnesota. We're going to do our yearly review here with the mayor, as soon as I back out of all this stuff, and then we'll visit with the mayor about what's happened in 2015. We'll look forward to 2016, see what challenges are facing our lovely city of Faribault. And we appreciate the mayor for stopping by today. Thanks, John.
You bet, Gordy. I always love to come down to KDHL.
Well, I don't know. Love?
Love, sure.
You used the word love.
Yeah, love.
Wow. I'm so touched, Mayor, that you love coming down to KDHL. Anyway, might as well dive right into this, right? 2016 is an election year.
Yes, it is.
And you're up for re-election.
I am, Gordy.
So what are the thoughts?
At this point, I don't know. I know I'll run for some office, that's for sure, but you never know what might happen.
Ooh, there's a little hint there. Governor Jasinski.
No,
That's got a little ring to it. Governor Jasinski. Doesn't that ever
Let's move on to city issues, Gordy.
State representative, state senator. You're not going to tell me. Okay, that's okay. Well, I had to ask. It's an election year, right?
It is, yep.
And virtually everybody's up for election. Isn't that the case?
It's a big year. That's correct.
So, that'll be coming up here in, we'll find out in the next couple of months, I'm sure.
Yep.
So, what's the number one most pressing issue you think right now facing our city?
I don't think it's a pressing issue. I mean, we're updating our comprehensive plan, which we do every 10 years, and we've been, obviously with the Vision 2040 was kind of the setup for that. We did a lot of research on what people see as the needs in Faribault. So we're using that document to really help us update our comprehensive plan. 10 years ago, we looked back at land use issues and all the different things that happen in the city, and obviously things change in the city. One of the examples is we had quite a bit of industrial land available for development in Faribault, and with the recent acquisition of Faribault Foods and their $100 million expansion plans, that industrial land has, I'll say dried up, but there's not as much available anymore, so we have to look into that to see what's available for more industrial development. I think the Vision 2040 going into 2016 to make sure we accomplish those goals and update our comprehensive plan to make sure we know what we want to do in the future and what Faribault wants to be, I think is probably our biggest thing.
Right. Looking back at 2015, a lot of highlights, of course, the announcement by Faribault Foods of their expansion. I mean, I think you said at one time it's the biggest expansion we'll see in our lifetime here.
Well, it's the biggest one I'll probably see. I mean, it's a huge thing. It's $100 million. I talked to Gary Kinseth actually today on another item, and he said that's continuing to grow. So by the time they actually kick it off, there may be other things, and they're exciting things. They're working with the power plant to see how they can reuse each other's water and things like that. So that's an exciting thing happening. There's lots of stuff going on, so it's exciting.
And they had options to go elsewhere.
They did.
Yep. So staying here in Faribault is awesome.
And again, I like to give a lot of credit to Gary Kinseth because he's very good for Faribault, and he's done a great job of Faribault Foods here and had a good relationship with Reed McDonald when he sold the property or sold the business, and continues to continue that on. So I think having him here is a definite asset to help Faribault Foods expand in Faribault, that's for sure.
Well, and being a former mayor and a former council member, he obviously has a good relationship with the city.
Absolutely, yep. And to come up with all that and educate the planning commission really what's going on, the city council really came in and was very proactive with here's what's going to go on. We're going to be asking for variances and things like this, and working with utilities and things like that. Really looking at the master plan, what's going out there is very exciting. I think by the time they're done, they're going to have about 1.2 million square feet under roof. If you look across the freeway, Aldi was a huge thing at 560,000. We're looking at double the size of that. You got Sage right across the street at 340-some thousand square feet. So really that whole industrial park look is going to be a lot different. As you're driving down Interstate 35 coming south from the metro or going north into the metro, you'll see that, and that really will be a billboard for industrial development here in Faribault. So I think it's a great asset to Faribault to have.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the other day when I was coming back from a girls hockey game up in the Twin Cities. A lot of these buildings weren't here when I arrived in 1987. There's the Power, there's Metcon, there's the warehouse from Malt O'Meal.
That's farther north. That's not in the city limits, but yep.
But I mean, it's all on the interstate there.
Correct, all on the interstate there, correct. And so we, look forward to seeing that grow and increasing our tax base, and it definitely shows that Faribault's really all about manufacturing and business here in town.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk more with the mayor, with AM Minnesota, Belle Plaine, and of course in Owatonna. We appreciate there being a KDHL Agri Booster. It's pretty easy to be an Agri Booster too. Just give us a jingle if you're interested. Mayor John Jasinski is with us on this final day of 2015. Wow, hard to believe. Where did the year go, Mayor?
God, it sure went fast, didn't it, Gordy?
It did. I mean, it always does. As you get older, that's what happens, I guess. Time just absolutely flies.
And I guess you would know more than that about me, more than that than I do, because you're a little older.
Well, I'm quite a bit older, but...
But you're right, they do. The older you get, the faster they go, it seems.
Yeah, no question about that. But as I look back at 2015, one of the highlights of the year, of course, was the Tilt-A-Whirl.
That was a very, very
was that
neat,
awesome downtown?
Yes, it was.
You
I was
really
very
know the
surprised at
people?
the amount of people that came. Yeah, it was very exciting, and they did a great job with that, and it's very exciting.
And it's being used. I mean, I go by there, you know, not every day or anything, but I see people taking pictures.
Did you see it today?
Are there people down there now, today?
I'm just kidding you. We took it out of the city for the winter months, so it doesn't sit out in the extremities. I just want to test your knowledge of driving by down there. But no, we actually store it in the city shop over the winter, so it doesn't get all the elements in it. So it'll go back out again in the spring.
But I know in the summer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I saw, you know, wedding parties having a picture taken.
Yeah.
That is kind of a cool wedding photo.
Burkittsmeyer Shoes has kind of a front row seat to see what's going on down there. I've talked to Bruce a couple times, and he says it's amazing the number of people that come in and take their picture down there. So, yeah, great thing for downtown.
Yeah, that was a great addition. Now, there's talk of another car, right?
I believe there is, yes. Or I know there is, correct, yes.
Do you know where that is?
I haven't been involved with where it's going. I know they were looking to raise some funds to do a second car, and you know where that would be, we don't know. But yeah, I think they're working on that. And there's other things that we can add down there as well. I mean, it doesn't have to be two Tilt-A-Whirl to be something else or whatever we want to do down there. There's other industries can be highlighted downtown or wherever throughout the community, and it could be a different spot. Maybe it's in Central Park or somewhere else. We don't know. But yeah, I know they're working on getting another one refurbished or working to get the funds to get one refurbished. And where that will go, we don't know at this point.
Now, I know someone had suggested having a Tilt-A-Whirl museum or something here in town. You got Spam Museum down in Austin.
Well, there's actually kind of somewhat of a coordinated effort looking at having some type of a museum district downtown that's been talked about. And there's several things, from the blind school and the deaf academies and all the different things that we could highlight, the woolen mills. We could actually have one central location for a lot of those things. It does get a little complicated with, you know, having it all in one location and security, and you know, they've talked about several different things with fire and, you know, having it protected for all those things. And so, but there is an effort to try and do something like that, and what that will include, you know, we don't know. It could be, you know, for the Faribault Foods history, it could be the woolen mills, it could be the academies, it could be Shattuck, it could be, there's all kinds of history here in town, so there's plenty of media to put in that museum.
Speaking of history, and I don't know, because it's in private hands now, maybe there isn't as much information about Johnston Hall. You know where that sits right now?
I don't know. I think other than Alina's, you know, looked at doing something with it or having some community group come together to have something used for it. I don't think they have any immediate plans. I know they're studying it, but I don't know where that sits or what's going on with that.
Yeah, last time I talked to someone from the Heritage Preservation Commission, they were still in the negotiating with Alina.
Correct.
And Alina was very open to some negotiation.
Absolutely.
I should check to see what we got here for some text messages. Sounds like my phone's blowing up, doesn't it?
It does.
507-838-5233, 507-838-5233 if you'd like to text the mayor a question. Before I get to those, maybe I should ask you what information you'd like to make sure you get out today.
You know, I don't have anything specific other than, you know, some of the neat updates we have is obviously we've been increasing our police force, and we went through the Vision 2040, and what we did here is we want more officers on the street. So this year's budget did show an increase. So on your property tax statement, you'll see an increase, which is always not so popular, but we did, as a council, decide we need to make that go forward with our 20 vision. And is you're going to spend money on a study and do all that work, and if you have the vision and you don't implement it, you know, why do the study? So one of the things is to increase police, and we've been trying to do that since the recession has ended. So we've had 32 officers on the street now, and now in January we'll have 33, and then by July it'll be 34. So it'll be up to the highest number we've had in several years. So that's a good thing, and that's what we're looking forward. The city has done a new website, so if you don't use the website, the city's updated their website, so it makes it much easier to get around, and all the city meetings, and you can stream the video of the meetings and things like that, and it's just much more easily manipulated to get around the site, so you can find out things as far as when the leaf dump is closed and things like that. So we spend a lot of money and effort to try and get their website updated. As you know, you have to keep updating those every so often, because they do get outdated quite quickly.
Boy, you can say that again.
What else? I'm trying to think. There's a lot of things. Obviously, our fire station will be under remodeling for the first time in a long time, so that's going to get updated. We've put a new generator, backup emergency generator at the fire station that also serves City Hall, so that's a thing that we'll have as far as if we're ever down in power and things like that for emergency operations and things like that. So that is getting installed, or I think it's operational now. So there's lots of improvements we've been doing. Our crime-free multi-housing, we've been working on that through the year, and that's showing a lot of improvements and helping. I think, I don't know the numbers, but I think there's been 30 bad tenants evicted out of housing that needed to be gone. We were also our drug task force has been doing a great job, so with a lot more arrests and things going on there, so I think we've been very active.
Yeah. Do you have a new canine unit?
We have a new canine. Well, that was new last year, but
okay.
Yep. Chase is our canine, and he's doing very well and been a very effective tool for the police to use.
See, that's how quick the years go by. It seems like just yesterday we were talking about the new canine unit.
Yep. No. And that was actually, a lot of local businesses and people put money together to help get that dog, and we're very proud of that and want to thank all those businesses for doing that. And yeah, it's been a very effective tool.
Yeah. Lawmakers were here during the year. I know I got a chance to visit or join the visit out at the former White Sands pool.
Oh, the dog park.
Yeah, well, yeah, the dog park is there too. Boy, why is this escaping my memory?
The trailhead?
Yeah, that's it, the trailhead. Why couldn't I think of that word?
No, I didn't know what you were thinking.
Because I'm getting old, that's why. Anyway, I was out there. They had a number of lawmakers. We jumped on a bus. Paul Panofsky did a great job. North Johnson did a great job in informing the lawmakers. And it sounds like, I mean, it's not etched in stone, but the city's going to get some money to help with some of that.
We sure hope so.
I mean, one of the things they're going to do is improve the area over by the where the bridge goes across Highway 3 there. If you've ever ridden a bike on Highway 3,
mm-hmm.
You have to almost...
It's been a while, but yeah.
You have to go on Highway 3, literally.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because of the bridge there.
Yeah, the Milltown Trail, they've been trying to get that through to Dundas, and
yeah.
There's lots of stuff going on there.
So, it won't be too long. We'll have access all over the community.
Yep, and they've actually been talking now between Faribault and Owatonna as well. So there's, several different areas, and Faribault obviously, with where we're located, could be in the middle of all that. So that's a good thing for Faribault.
Personally, when I go biking, I like to stay on the trail.
Yep.
I don't like to. I don't even like to ride my bike on the roads to the trail, if you know what I'm saying.
Correct, and there's been some discussion on that. We're trying to get more people into downtown from that trailhead down there, and we've looked at several different plans, and nothing so far that the council is really keen on, because again, a lot of it's involved in traffic, and we're not so great on, or not so, have a safety concern on that going through there to get to the trail. So
and there was talk of bike lanes.
Bike lanes and things like that, but at this point we're not going forward with any of that, so we're kind of waiting to see what happens. And eventually I think we'll come around the north side as we want to extend that bike trail through North Alexander. That was a big improvement this year if it went through North Alexander, so it's all the way through Alexander Park now, from basically the Faribault Foods office building all the way through Alexander Park and out to right by the Aquatic Center. So now we have to get from the Aquatic Center over to 17th Street.
And if I didn't ask you this next question, I'd be, I'd probably be flogged to the nearest park or something, because somebody asked me when they knew you were coming on the show to make sure I asked you about Bell Field and handicap accessibility.
Absolutely. There's a group of guys and city staff as well that are working to try and see what we can do for that, and not only do the improvements to make it handicap accessible, but make it more marketable to get state tournaments here. And using that money not only make it accessible, but to do some improvements. Either it's better restrooms, or a pavilion outside, or more seating above. There's a talk about a deck above one of the dugouts to have more viewing capabilities and things like that. So yeah, just got the first meeting was actually at my loft downtown, and we met to see what we can do, and we'll continue to have some more meetings to see what can be done with the facility. So yeah, make it much more marketable, and try and get a state tournament here in town.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think they said it would bring $3 to $4 million into the community to Faribault when that happens here in town. So,
I could believe it.
Yep, you bet. We went to the Faribault Lakers last year for the state tournament, and what had happened up there is amazing. The amount of people that are in the community and out shopping and eating and dining and all kinds of things like that. So it'd be great for Faribault to have that.
Yeah, they're not like me. I just go to the game and then I come home.
Gordy, you should.
Most people make a day of it, right?
That's right. We
Yeah.
did when we went up. We had a great big group from Faribault that went up there and had a good time. So we actually barbecued out in one of the parks there. And,
Well, you took a bus, right? Or did you go on the bus?
I did not go on the bus, but we were up there. We kind of carpooled up there and had a little cookout before the game, and yeah,
Cool.
it was great time.
Fantastic. And that would be cool if we could have tailgating here in Faribault outside
Sure,
Bell Field.
Yep, you bet.
You know, I see some people out there once in a while with a grill. And
Well, last year with the Lakers having such a good season, you know, the attendance was up phenomenally from what I've heard. You know, and I didn't really get the itch to do that until last year, so I got to actually announce a couple of games.
yeah, you did a public address announcement.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I know you feel like now, Gordy.
No, it was. It was a good time. I should note, you know, Bashers did the concession stand last year.
They did a great job. Jerry did a great job and his staff down there, so we thank him for doing that.
And it's nice to know when you're going to the ballpark that there'll actually be concessions.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, and I don't think I even realized up until last year that you go down and watch a baseball game for a cheap price and have a beer and a hot dog and enjoy the day, and it's, you know, it's right there.
Yep,
Right in our own backyard.
It's a lot of fun right here in Faribault. And now, you know, we've had a two-time state tournament team. There's nothing to...
And they should have another good year this year. We talked to Charlie Lichtenberg, and he's excited for the upcoming year.
Yeah, well, he should be. Yeah. And Mayor John Jasinski is with us. That phone number, if you'd like to text a question, is 507-838-5233, 507-838-5233. I know when I visited with you 2 years ago, last year, didn't you visit with Jerry last year? On New Year's Eve?
I don't think we did, no.
We didn't do the show?
No, I only done it with you, Gordy.
Oh, man, I'm heartbroken. Anyway, so I thought we did arrange it. In any event, a couple of years ago, I know you had brought up that the infrastructure, internet-wise, in Faribault is not super good.
Well, I think in the city limits it's not so bad, Gordy. It's in, you know, all around the lakes and the rural areas is what I think they're working on. We as the city allowed, I believe it's Verizon, to put two towers in downtown, one down by the Buckham Center and one right by the north end by the Boxers or the Hotel Faribault, and those went up, and that will improve the service for the Verizon customers, and so it's improving service for customers here in Faribault, as well as they pay the city a fee every year. So it's great to have, you know, that provided downtown.
There's really not a lot that the city can do, right?
Yeah, it's more of a private enterprise thing. We don't want to get, you know, involved with that, so we let the cell phones companies and do what they want to do. So,
you know, other than maybe, I don't know, grants or something. I mean, the state and the federal governments are trying to encourage more internet access, I was reading here.
Yeah, I talked to some of the legislators in the outstate. They're really trying to get more outstate to improve, you know, commerce and things like that. Having internet has become so big, everything seems to be run on Wi-Fi, or you need internet for these days. So getting it in the outstate regions is very important.
I was shocked to see this number. This is from the Pew Research Center. It's an independent research outfit. Actually, it's some very interesting stuff on their website. I like to look at it from time to time. It says that 33% of U.S. adults still do not have home broadband internet service.
Wow.
That's a third of Americans. I was somewhat shocked by that number.
I would think that number would continue to go down, obviously, but yeah, everything that I seem to be involved with, it has some type of Wi-Fi access. You can control your temperature or whatever you want to do, or your garage door, like you were talking about earlier. Everything seems to be Wi-Fi based, and you know, businesses now so much need Wi-Fi. For example, ourselves at Metcon Companies, where I work, we needed the service, so we actually put up a tower out there to increase our service out there, so you get fast speed, so that you're not limiting yourself by the speed.
Did it help? I mean, did
Absolutely,
it really help?
Yeah, you bet.
You're super fast now?
We're 50 meg up and down, so yep, it's a great service for us to have out there.
I suppose when you get home, it's kind of disappointing, or do you
No,
have
downtown I have, I think it's 30 or 40 meg service downtown, so no, I get good service downtown.
Oh, okay. Anything else you wanted to touch on there, Mayor? I see you got some items circled.
Nope, we've talked about most of the things going on. Again, I think the comp plan update is a big thing, and the Vision 2040 going forward with that. Our crime-free multi-housing is a big thing we're doing downtown. We worked a lot on the building facades last year and maintenance issues and things like that, so we'll continue that this summer when it comes up, and working to make the whole city of Faribault a better place to live.
Finances are always a concern for any units of government, right?
Correct. And Faribault's sitting very solidly. We've been very good financially responsible. So again, we did have to use a large tax increase this year over the last 7 years. You know, we've stayed flat for so long through the recession you find out that you definitely have to catch up a little bit, and we were behind because we cut so many services back in 2008 and 9 that we had to increase that. And again, a lot of it was based on what the community was asking in the 2040 vision, so we try and do that.
And earlier this year, wasn't it this year? I got my years mixed up again. You and city administrator went to Germany, right?
We did go to Germany last summer, correct?
How was that?
It was a great thing to see. They were very excited for Faribault to come over. Faribault has not been involved because of the recession, we couldn't go over there and things like that. So to get over there and maintain that relationship is very important. They think very highly of Faribault and what Faribault did for them back in the war. So they want to try and maintain that relationship more, and I'll try and do as best I can to keep that relationship going and make sure whoever comes in as a mayor after me understands the importance of that relationship with the city of Würzburg.
You would think, I mean, it's been a long time since World War II, that the memory would have faded about the good gestures that the city of Faribault did back in the time. Now, refresh our memories. A lot of Faribault people set blankets over there.
Correct. General Beebe, all kinds. I think that, from what I understand, there was two not train loads, but two boxcars full of supplies that went over to Germany from Faribault in a time when city of Würzburg was hurting very badly. So again, when you're at war with them and then give them supplies, it's a pretty good thing to do. And they were very gracious and very thankful for what the city of Faribault did, and they do all remember. It's in their city hall. They have pictures of that, and they talk about it very much over there. So I myself didn't tour some of the schools, but when the former Mayor Ackman was over there in like '99, he went into school, and I think they were about 5th or 6th graders, and the teacher raised their hand and said, okay, how many people know where Faribault is? And he said about 3/4 of the class raised their hand. They knew where Faribault, Minnesota was. So
how cool is that?
That's pretty neat. He said,
if you do the reverse here in Faribault, you think they know where Würzburg, Germany was?
Not as many, no, not as many as all. They are educating. I think the schools do a pretty good job in talking about Würzburg, but I don't think as much as in reverse. So we could work on that.
Did you get to see any other cities while you were there?
Frankfurt and Würzburg, but most of the time was spent in Würzburg. So.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. But I was over there a couple of years ago. We didn't get over there.
Well, no,
my dream is to go back.
It's a very neat city, and seeing their downtown and things that we could do in our downtown to make it a little bit more like that, I think are some good things. I mean, Faribault is obviously a different culture than over there, but some of the small little things that you can pick up in some of the neighborhoods of Würzburg are a definite good ideas for Faribault to see and have done here. The flex, not the flex, but the beer here in Faribault is a great thing that we have, and that's just like in Germany, the beer right there and made and served right there, so it's great.
They have much stronger beer.
They do have a little bit stronger beer, correct. But F-Town, again, here has some great beer, and that's a neat thing. And when that was just coming back, as we came back from Germany, F-Town was opening up in July, so I think that's been a great thing for Faribault downtown to have that here, and it's an exciting thing to have in Faribault and see that happen.
Yeah, that's really growing. That industry is really growing.
They had a great summer, and it's outdoor, it's a patio, it's a very neat thing to see, and I think they're continuing to have that success in the winter, but I know it's much more difficult in the winter because they don't have that venue outside in the patio and things like that. But from what I've talked to those guys, their beer sales are doing good through their distributor here locally, and they're selling it all over southern Minnesota.
Well, I can tell you a lot of people are very I don't know if I want to use the word jealous. They're envious, I guess, of Faribault for a lot of reasons. One, we have the best soccer complex around.
Yeah, and through the 2040 visioning thing, that's one thing that they found out, that a lot of people in Faribault really don't have as a good a thought about Faribault as they should, and we should be very proud of what we have here in town. You don't realize, a lot of people don't realize that they want the franchise like the Chipotles and things like that, but really Faribault has non franchised companies, so it's nice to have a Depot and an Alexander's and things that other people don't have. So I think it's a great thing to have, and we as people in Faribault need to appreciate that and spend money in our businesses here in town and appreciate what we do have.
Yeah, we get a Bashers and a Basilios, and all local based.
All local based, yep.
You don't find that in a lot of places anymore.
Correct. Yeah, you go up into a Lakeville or a Farmington and try and find those, or Bloomington. It's typically a lot of franchises, whereas Faribault we have our own homegrown businesses here.
But you're right. A lot of people want the big box stores too. And yep. That's been one of the things that people have said they wanted, right?
Yep, that is correct. And it's And that's part of the reason why people in Faribault, are jealous of other areas, because they get those things. But if you look at Faribault from a demographic location, we're almost too close to the city of Faribault, or we're too close to the cities,
right,
because people will travel. And if they have a $10 million Home Depot facility in south of Burnsville, they're not going to travel, or they don't want to spend the money here in Faribault. So, and then you get to an Otana, who's a little bit farther out, that is past that 50-mile ring. They figure they're not going to travel there, so they need something there. And then you look at medium household incomes, and ours is a little bit lower, so that's another reason. And then just population. So there's lots of things that lead into that. But
Mona Kaiser was with us yesterday, Faribault Area Senior Center Executive Director, and I told folks that we'd try and refresh their memory about the city's involvement in this, because eventually, once they get that built, the city wants to utilize some of that space, right, and get out of Washington?
Correct. Yep. That would be the overall goal, is to, at some point when we can have that facility big enough and we can either expand to have that all in one location and sell Washington, or find somebody else that can use Washington, so we're in one location. So, yeah, that fund drive, I think, is going fairly well. I've talked to Mona, and so I'm sure you got more updates yesterday of how it's going, but we want to make sure and push to get that. It's a great asset for Faribault, and as the baby boomers get older, we're going to have much more. The age that will use that facility, it keeps increasing, so it's good for Faribault to have a nice facility for them.
Well, it's not just for seniors, I guess, is what the emphasis here is, that
the city will share the space when they're not utilizing it.
Yep.
Yes, correct. So the hours are a little bit different. The city typically, or what community service uses it later in the evening, where the senior center will use it during the day. So we can offset and use each other's facilities in the same complex.
So the facility is going to be multi-generational.
Correct.
Yep. The seniors during the day, and then younger folk
at night
in the evening.
Yep.
And eventually save the city some money in terms of getting out of one of the buildings.
That's what we believe. Yes.
All right. Well, I've only got a minute left. Happy New Year to you, John.
And Happy New Year to you, Gordy. And make sure everyone out there listening to drive safely this evening. And we have a lot of police on duty this evening, and everybody should drive careful and have a good New Year's. And we look forward for a very successful 2016 here in Faribault.
Yep, it is a National Champagne Day.
Yep. You would know that, Gordy.
So have yourself some bubbly tonight.
I'll try and do that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gordy.
John Jasinski joining us this morning on our AM Minnesota program, AM in Faribault.